By CNN's count, Republicans have now flipped 3 Senate seats, with the potential of picking up another, setting themselves up to have at least 52 seats in the U.S. Senate. I'm joined now by one new member of that majority, Senator-elect Jim Banks of Indiana, who currently serves in the House. Congratulations, sir. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
One of the top issues in your campaign was immigration and the border. What is the first thing that you want the president-elect to do?
Well, I have no doubt. Donald Trump is going to be inaugurated on January 20th. He's going to hop in a car, drive down Pennsylvania Avenue, swing the door open of the Oval Office, and he's going to immediately sign executive orders to go back to the effective Trump policies like remain in Mexico, allow us again to build the wall at the southern border, and then end catch and release. And that's the perfect Trump formula to begin the process to secure the border. What's different about this time from last time is he's going to have backup in the Congress to support him to do it. And we will give him the funding that it takes to fully build the wall, to support our Border Patrol agents, to do their important work. But it's going to start with those executive orders on day one. Joe Biden overturned all of those Trump policies on his first day in office, and Donald Trump's going to immediately reverse that and go back to what we know will work.
You told the Indy Star yesterday, quote, "We're going to begin the process of deporting the over 15 million illegals that have come into this country under Joe Biden's watch." First of all, just to better understand what the actual policy and how it's going to be executed will be, do you see all undocumented immigrants as should they all be kicked out of the country?
Well, some conservative estimates say that there are at least 15 million illegals who have come into the country on Joe Biden's watch. It's my hope that we deport every single one of them that we can. And it starts with deporting violent criminals who are in the United States, who came here illegally, who have committed violent crimes. And I think once you do that, President Trump is committed to making that his first and top priority when it comes to mass deportation. And then also on top of that, increase the penalties on businesses who hire illegals in our country and take away the incentive for them to be here and for them to come here. And I think many of them will leave on their own. But the mass deportation plan needs to be an immediate focus of the House and the Senate. I believe when the dust settles, we're going to have a even bigger majority in the House, still a slim majority, but a bigger majority by a couple of seats in the House. And we'll have the ability to work together in both chambers to fund the mass deportation effort and give the president the backup that he needs to make it happen.
So just to be clear, I know you say that it would be the people who are criminals first, but then ultimately every undocumented immigrant in this country, even those who perhaps are deemed by their neighbors as contributing to society, or perhaps those who are married to American citizens or legal immigrants. That's it. Children, adults, older people, they all should be gone.
The American people spoke loud and clear on Tuesday. They gave this president and Republicans a mandate to do everything that we can. The goal should be to deport every illegal in this country that we can find. And as I said a moment ago, if you take away the incentive for them to come here in the first place by turning up the pressure on those who employ illegals, then you've taken away the incentive. They're going to go back to where they came from. So you start with the violent criminals. That Americans are counting on President Trump and Republicans to send them back to reduce violent crime in this country. But I think the goal has to be, and the American people expect it to be, to deport those who came here illegally.
And how does that work? I mean, that's a huge undertaking. How does that even actually work realistically?
No doubt about it. President Trump said yesterday that it could be costly, but the American people deserve it to do everything that we can to return sanity back to this country.
The money is one thing, but I'm talking about, like, how does it work? If you just pick Indiana, for example, how do you want the federal government to go about finding people and physically getting them out of the country?
I don't think this is that complicated. I spoke with a local sheriff in Indiana earlier today who's ready. Local law enforcement is ready to go to do what it takes to help with the mass deportation effort. But if you take away those incentives from business and put pressure on businesses who hire illegals in this country, then many of these, maybe most of those who are here illegally, are going to go back on their own. And that's what Donald Trump and Republicans in the House and the Senate are focused on. I think it begins with deporting violent criminals. It's not that hard to find them, and if you take away the incentive, many of them will go back to where they came from.
Well, on the incentive, I do want to ask you about that, because you know that you will get some pushback by people in your own party who are sort of business-minded Republicans who will say, we need these people. They are workers that really fuel our businesses. And then aside from business, just even taking agriculture as an example, I want to read a quote from Michael Marsh, President and CEO of the National Council of Agriculture Employees. He says, from an employer standpoint, you're very concerned when you hear somebody talk about deporting a significant amount of the existing workforce. What do you say to him and others who really do rely, even hospitality, who rely on these undocumented migrants?
A mandate is a mandate, and the president winning the popular vote on Tuesday is a strong signal that this is what the American people, the public, expects us to do. And only Republicans who completely misread the moment, who don't understand what the mandate means, and I don't think there are very many of them left in Congress. It's a much different Congress makeup today than what it was in 2016 when President Trump was first elected. You don't have Republicans in the House and the Senate who will fight back against President Trump to do what the American people want him to do, to deport illegals and to secure the border. The American people are counting on us to do it, and that will be our focus.
Before I let you go, the filibuster is something that you're going to have to contend with potentially now that you are going to be in the U.S. Senate, not a House thing. The Republicans, of course, don't have 60 votes and will not get 60 votes after all the dust settles. So as long as the filibuster does remain in place, Democrats will have the ability to block legislation. Do you want to keep the filibuster, or do you believe that the Republicans should consider trying to find a way to do away with it?
Well, remember, Democrats campaigned on doing away with the filibuster.
Right.
And
so what do you think?
The voters spoke loud and clear on Tuesday. We're likely to have 53, maybe 54 Republican senators. We don't need to do away with the filibuster. We should have at least 3 bites at the apple of a legislative process and maneuver called reconciliation, which will avoid the 60-vote rule. The Democrats used it to massively expand the federal government when they had both the House and the Senate in Joe Biden's first 2 years, and Republicans are already preparing the way to use reconciliation to do things like bring down the cost of groceries, to bring energy production back to the United States, and to undo the massive expansion of the federal government and federal spending. And that will bring down inflation in our country, and reconciliation is a way to do it, to allow for a simple majority vote in the United States Senate.
So it sounds like you're saying, no, keep the filibuster in place.
You can keep the filibuster. You use reconciliation. We could use it 3 times in 2 years because we have 3 opportunities to do it. And I think Republicans were ready to go. We've been preparing for this moment. That's a big difference between 2016 and 2024 as well. We're prepared. We're ready to go. Donald Trump knew he was going to win on Election Day, and he knew it for a long time. And he's been preparing his team and Republicans in the Congress to get things done.
Senator-elect Jim Banks, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it.